This is kind of weird to say, and I feel like some of y'all are gonna judge me, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm not setting any SMART goals in 2023. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not setting any goals at all. In fact, I'm making this video to share my goals for the new year with you guys, but I'm doing it a little bit differently this year. And so I wanted to make this video and share not only some of my goals, but the process behind them. For those of y'all that don't know me, hey there, hi, I'm Maggie Rainwater. I am the owner and CEO of Rainwater Poster Co., which is a company that provides design and promotion services to artists and events in the roots music community. So I do graphic design, social media management, web design, so on and so forth. And on this channel, in addition to behind the scenes stuff about me and my business, I'm also talking about life here in Asheville, North Carolina, where I live, travel, and of course, productivity. So before we get into the video, if you would please take a minute to hit that like button and click subscribe. Liking the video helps get it out to more people, and subscribing helps me grow my channel. And I would love to see more of you here as I'm working to grow my community, which is one of my goals that we're gonna get into here in a minute. So thank you for liking and subscribing, and let's get into the video. If you've been here before, you probably know I am a big planner. I'm a very organized person. Not only does it help me stay sane with my really busy life, I genuinely love planning and organizing. I love bullet journaling. I love keeping my calendar up to date. Organization makes me happy. I've always considered myself to be an organized person, but I became a business owner in 2019, and I'd say it was not too long after that goal setting and bullet journaling really became a big and important part of my life because it's necessary for me to keep everything together. I work in tech full time. I am growing my business whenever I'm not doing my day job. I also am in a relationship. I am part of a community here in Asheville. I love to travel and see concerts and love to go thrifting and have some different hobbies and interests that I try to keep up with whenever I can, and it's hard balancing everything. So planning and goal setting and bullet journaling is really important to me. And then of course, as you guys know, in 2020, the pandemic happened. And that year, I kind of had a lot going on, mental health wise. I went to therapy for the first time and started that. And that could be a whole other discussion, but through therapy and through just everything that happened in 2020, that is when I really and truly made bullet journaling and goal setting a part of my everyday life. So over the last few years, I would say that I've probably done some form of the SMART goal setting system. So for those of you guys that don't know about that, there are tons of videos about it. I'm not going to get into it too much, but basically it's a framework by which you create your goals in a way that they are time-bound and actionable. And that worked for me for a really long time. But what also ended up happening is that I would be making goals because I felt like that was what I was supposed to be doing. You know, like if I didn't have a goal for a certain area of my life, I would kind of just make one up and I would go through the framework, and what would end up happening is I've got all of this stuff that like I've committed to doing, and I don't know if I really want to do it. And now my to-do list is even longer and I'm stressed out, and that's kind of like the opposite of what goal setting is supposed to be. So I tend to have kind of an existential crisis at the end of the year, just thinking about like, did I accomplish my goals from the previous year? What are my goals going to be for the upcoming year? And this year, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to come up with something that was going to feel more holistic and less stressful for me and for where I am in my life right now. And it was hard for me to think about at first. Like, I don't really remember when I started thinking, like, for sure, I don't want to set goals in the traditional way this year. But like that thought kind of stressed me out, you know, that made me feel like I'm not gonna accomplish anything. As I thought about it more, and I talked through it with my therapist, and I journaled about it, I realized I do have a lot of goals that I'm working on. I have them written down, I have plans for them, I am working towards them, but maybe not in the traditional way, maybe not using the SMART framework. And maybe I don't have like these set amount of goals that you're supposed to have. I did Full Focus Planner for a couple of years. Again, that's another thing that was great for me at the time, but I've kind of gotten away from now because it was too structured for me. So for Full Focus Planner, the idea is for you to have 10 yearly goals. I think that was the number. And so I had 10 yearly goals. Some of them were not actually super relevant to where I was in my life and what I wanted to achieve. So I have goals that I'm excited about, and I'm not keeping track of how many there are. I just know that I am excited about them. So that's my goal setting method for the year. It's less structured, it's more holistic. It's more in tune with how I feel as I'm heading into this year. However, that isn't to say that there is not any structure. So I have goals in 3 different areas of my life. So I have personal goals, I have business goals, and then I have some mental health goals. Personal goals are things like financial goals, places I want to travel, things like that. Business goals are obviously for Rainwater Poster Co., my company. And then the mental health goals are some things that I want to work on with the help of my therapist in the upcoming year. Another thing that I'm doing differently when it comes to goals is I'm not strictly sticking to the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year kind of system. So I just have my list of goals. And if they're accomplished in 2023, great. Some of them are shorter term, some of them are longer term. But what ends up happening a lot of times with goals, I feel like, is if you give it a time frame and you don't accomplish it in that time frame, then you feel like you failed. And as long as you're working towards the goal, it doesn't matter if you achieve it in 1 month, 6 months, 5 years. You're working towards that every day, and that's just as important as the final achievement of the goal. So my goals, I have a big list. I don't have them all broken out by 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, etc. So I'm gonna go through those with you guys. I do reserve the right to not share everything about all of my goals with y'all. Some of them are personal. For the financial stuff, I might not share numbers, for example. So to write down my goals and to track them throughout the year, I am going to be using GoodNotes. If you're not familiar with GoodNotes, it's a digital journaling system for the iPad. It's my favorite thing ever. I got an iPad in April of last year, and switching over to digital journaling has been really helpful for me. First of all, it's easier to carry around. Second of all, it's easier to customize. And third, there's no guilt when I don't fill out the pages for a few days because it's all digital. Right now, I just have a separate folder within GoodNotes that has all of my goals listed out. So in GoodNotes, I have a planner loaded in there, and then I just have a free-form bullet journals. So let's talk about what my goals actually are. First of all, for personal goals, a lot of my personal goals are in the realm of finance. One thing that has been really important to me over the last few years has been credit card debt payoff. I'm working to become debt-free. I am really close. I just have one card that I'm working on paying off this year, so that is a big goal. Hoping to be free of credit card debt by the end of 2023. So that has been a longer term goal. It's something that I've been working on for a while, but in 2023, since we're almost at the finish line, it's a goal that I feel confident about being able to accomplish by the end of the year. So I'm really excited about that. Some other financial goals that I'm working on saving for are a new car, my emergency fund, and longer term, a house down payment. So first of all, a new car. I paid off my current car this past November. I want to go a while without a car payment, but also she just hit 150,000 miles. and I'm really wanting something smaller. When I'm just driving to Asheville and back, I don't get very good gas mileage. And when my car was in the shop earlier this year, we rented a smaller car, and I realized that I do really miss it. So I haven't figured out exactly what kind of car I want to get next, whether I'm gonna keep my SUV for travel or like get rid of it. We're gonna figure all that out throughout the year, but I'm starting to save for a down payment on whatever my next car is gonna be. Then we have emergency fund. I've never been great at saving an emergency fund because I generally prioritize the debt payoff that I've been working on over the last few years. And it seems like every time I get my emergency fund built up a little bit, my car somehow manages to need like the exact amount of money that I've saved up in terms of work on the car. Now that the debt is more under control, I really want to prioritize building an emergency fund for several months worth of expenses, so that when those things like the car repairs do come up, they don't blow the whole fund. And then lastly, super long term, I have been obsessed with houses lately. Nobody told me when you get into your late 20s, you start wanting to buy a house. It's like a longer term goal for me, for sure. I think the big thing for this year is just gonna be like researching, what do I need to buy a house? Like, what should my goals be? What should I be saving in terms of down payments, etc. But we're starting a fund for that this year. And that's something that's gonna be a little bit more long term, but that's okay. And then I have travel goals, and those are always fun. My partner Nathan and I love to travel. We want to do it more often. So in 2023, one of the things that I wrote down was to see a big soccer game. Nathan is really into soccer. I'll let him decide what a big soccer game would be, but last year we went to see the Charlotte Football Club and we had a really good time. So if they play like a bigger team this year, or if we have the opportunity to travel and see one of the bigger European teams, that would be really fun. So I'm kind of starting a fund just to start saving for that. I always have some kind of concert ticket fund, but I want to grow it more. So the Foo Fighters made an announcement that they are going to keep going, which is really exciting. I don't know when, where, how, etc. But we're starting a fund for that because when Taylor Hawkins passed away last year, I actually had tickets to take Nathan to what would have been his first Foo Fighters show. So that was really sad. And so I am determined that one of these days we are going to get him on the rail at a Foo Fighters show. So I'm working on a concert ticket fund specifically for that, so I can be ready whenever it happens. As far as other travel goals, I want to actually go spend some time in Virginia, where I'm from. We've been wanting to go up there for a while and like go to Busch Gardens and things like that. That's on my list for this year. We've been going to the North Carolina beaches a lot, which is lovely because they're like the most accessible to us in terms of distance, but we really want to go to some Florida beaches, so that's on my list for this year. One really exciting thing as far as travel, I am leaving on Thursday to go to New York City for the very first time. So that's going to be a separate video. Next up, we have business goals. So I have 4 goals for my business for this year that are pretty big. First of all, I do have a revenue goal. I'm not going to share that publicly, but every year I try to grow my business revenue over the previous year. And then I have a goal for savings. In addition to my personal emergency fund, I want to build up more of a savings for my business. Then one of my big goals, and the reason that I'm making this video, is monetizing on YouTube in 2023. I really love making videos for you guys. It's my creative outlet. It's a lot of fun for me. I have a lot of good ideas, I think, for the channel in 2023, and I really want to grow my community here. And so the monetization, I feel like, is the goal, but it's honestly not the biggest part of it for me because To monetize, you have to get to 1,000 subscribers, and so I would need to grow like a really awesome community, and then the monetization would just be kind of like an added bonus. So I'm really excited about that in the new year. Again, subscribing to my channel really helps as I work to reach this goal. And I would love to hear from you guys. If you're still here watching the video, first of all, I appreciate you. Second of all, please leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see from my channel in 2023. If I've said anything in this goal setting kind of video that you feel would be helpful for me to do a deeper dive into, let's talk about it. Please let me know, because I really want to grow this community with your help and support. And the last goal as far as business goes is I want to launch a digital course. And I don't know for sure if that'll happen in 2023. That is definitely a longer term goal, but bringing more passive revenue into the business in terms of YouTube and a digital course is something that I am exploring a lot in the new year and beyond. And lastly, mental health goals. These are goals that are kind of around self-care and balance, and they are things that have been coming up a lot with my therapist, and so I'm gonna be working through these throughout the year with her help. First of all, just on balance, I'm reading them from my iPad. So just having more balance between the different areas of my life. As someone who has both a full-time job and my own business, that's something that I'm always working on improving. In addition to just balancing my work and business, I want to have more balance in other areas of my life too, like more time to see friends regularly, regular yoga classes, regular time to have a night off. Those are all things that I'm trying to bring more into my life in 2023. Then morning and evening routines. I definitely wake up anxious or with existential dread a lot, so working on that, having a morning routine that is going to make me excited to get out of bed, and then an evening routine that's going to set me up for success and help me wind down before the next day. And just being able to maintain those routines in different seasons. I have a lot less energy in the colder, darker months of the year, so I have a really hard time doing a morning routine right now when it's dark until like 7:30 where I live, and I start work at 8. So those are some things that I'm gonna be working on improving this year as well. Mindset goals. More of an abundance mindset is always something that I'm working on. And again, just having the time and the energy to bring in the things in my life that make me feel more abundant. Things like spending time with friends, spending time away from my laptop, doing yoga, meditating. And then lastly, I have my inner child. I want to check in with her more often about what she might need and how I can kind of give myself those things. So through talking to my therapist, it's kind of come to my attention that my inner child is craving like knowledge and curiosity. There's so many things that I think that like I wish I would have time to bring some of this into my life, and I'm gonna try to make the time. Things that are not work related, because that's really hard for me. So some of the things that I've written down here are cooking more often, reading more books, finding new podcasts, finding like a class or a course that I can take if my schedule will allow it about something that I'm just curious about that is not related to my work. It's been really interesting because my year is a little bit set up differently this year than it has been. I was on break for the holidays, and then I have this trip to New York City that is January 12th through 17th. So it's been sort of hard for me to do my goal setting and planning because like I'm not really into the new year yet, and I already have this trip that I'm busy getting ready for. So some of my goals are really not going to start until like February 1st. I have some new website, new client launches for Rainwater Poster Co. at the end of January, so that's gonna keep me really busy as well. We may do another video and talk more about actual goal implementation as we get into February, because I have not made a plan for implementing all of these goals yet. What I'm thinking I'm gonna do is just kind of check in with them regularly One thing that I really enjoyed doing and I've kind of gotten away from as I've gotten a lot busier is having like a monthly session to pull some tarot cards, journal, check in about how the previous month has been, check in on my goals, and plan the following month. So I'm really hoping to bring that back in 2023 as well. And maybe we'll do a video just about that in the future. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. And this is the part where I really want to hear from you. First of all, is this kind of video helpful for you? Second of all, do you have anything about your goals that you want to share? Are your goals similar to mine? If so, I'd love for us to be able to connect. Again, my big goal for my business in 2023 is to keep growing this channel and my community here. So I would really love to hear from you. What would you like to see on this channel in 2023? What aspect of what I've shared so far are you curious about? What would you like to hear more about? What is not helpful for you? I would really love to hear from you. Thanks again for being part of my community and for watching this video, and I hope to talk to you really soon. All right, bye.